Bek Lover.
Oh, it's another day here at the Comeback Team Studios. And this is your boy Bek Lover, and you're watching another episode of the Interesting Times podcast right here on the Bek Lover channel on YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble, and anywhere podcasts are available. I gather all the interesting news, important news, and everything you need to know about this crazy world that we live in. So if you want someone that does all the homework for you and points out the interesting stuff that you should know, make sure you stay tuned here, hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing, bringing you the most interesting news in the world. Let's jump into today's headlines and stories and things that you should know. Interesting times indeed. You know, I don't understand how you can be a parent and still, with all the press these stories get, still to this day, there are parents that leave their children inside of cars in the middle of summer to the point where these children literally boil to death. Their own children. How stupid can you be? How many times must we remind you to not leave your children alone in a vehicle, especially for hours in the boiling sun when the car is off, and you should be scared that someone can break the window and take your child anywhere or something can happen to them. Like, how do you leave your child unattended, let alone inside of a vehicle, inside a hot car with no air conditioning in the middle of summer? These parents should be charged not with neglect, they should be charged with murder. Because to me, there's just no excuse. And here we go to another sad story that just reminds me of how low society has sunken, how evil this world has become, where a parent can leave their child in a hot car with no air conditioning in the middle of summer. Like, this is disgusting. Like, this is just a sign to show you where we are as a society. You know, it's the same thing where these women give birth to a child and just throw it into a dumpster, because I'll tell you what's wrong. Most of these children are being born out of wedlock. Their parents are not in love. Therefore, the act of creation meant nothing, which is why that human life means nothing, which is why lives today mean nothing. That's why mothers and dads throw their children away in dumpsters, leave them on doorsteps, and a lot of them honestly just kill their kids because they don't want them. So this is another example of promiscuity and where it's led us as a society. The act of creation, okay, which is making love physically, is not just a sport. There's a spiritual component to this that so many of you neglect, and you don't realize until you're older, or you never realize just how sacred the act is. And when the act of creation, meaning sleeping with someone physically that you're with or just for the night, is turned into a sport of just how many bodies you can rack up, this is why a human life means nothing, especially here in our society in America. This is why we have children full of rage that are going into schools and committing very violent acts because they were born not out of love. They were born out of lust. They were born out of deadly sins. And deadly sins lead to death, lead to violence, lead to destruction, lead to neglect. And that's why I believe this story, things like this happen every day in our country and around the world. Here we go. ABC News reports 2 baby boys die in hot cars in separate states on the same day. Okay? A 6-month-old boy has died after he was left in a hot car in Arizona for about 7 hours. Okay? Leaving a newborn child, 6 months old, by themselves, even for an hour or two, is just absurd, let alone completely by themselves for hours, 6-7 hours in a hot vehicle. I get paranoid if I find out my kids are alone for a second, because until I know they are capable to fend for themselves, my job as a dad is not over. Whether or not I'm married, not married, divorced, like, where, like, there's 2 parents here, like, where's the other one? Like, this is just crazy. Like, I like, but this is the problem when children are born out of wedlock, born out of love. They're not born out of love. They're born, who knows? And I'm not saying that's this exact case here, but this is what's wrong with the world. The incident unfolded after the mom asked the neighbor to drive her to Prescott Valley on Tuesday. The baby was in his car seat in the back of the neighbor's car, and he fell asleep on the neighbor's way home to Cordes Lake. The neighbor was asked to drop the baby off with his father, who lives next door and would be home shortly. The neighbor got home at about 2 p.m., parked the car in the sun, and went inside claiming to forget about the baby in the car. So that's one incident. That's just a fucking moron neighbor, okay, who, you know, clearly said, I'll take care of it. But when you take possession of a baby or someone that can't take care of themselves, a pet, any living creature, like, you're responsible. It's not like, oh, just drop the baby off there and that's it. Like, how the fuck do you not hand off the baby to make sure? So in this case, the parents are not wrong. However, they were wrong for choosing this fucking retard. You need to, excuse me for even using that word, okay? Strike that from the record. But, you know, it's just unreal that you would leave someone with this type of person. It's just crazy. You didn't do your due diligence of who you're handing your child off to. Like, you should know who you're leaving your kids with and if they're competent or not. Around 8:45 p.m., the baby's dad reached out to the mom, asking when the neighbor was bringing the little boy over. The mother, who was at work, called the neighbor, at which point the neighbor realized the 6-month-old was still in the car. The neighbor and the dad pulled the baby out of the car and called 911. On the same day as the Arizona fatality, another 6-month-old boy died after being left in a hot car in Louisiana. I mean, I've been to these states in summer. Like, they're boiling hot. When the parent went to pick up the baby from daycare after work, they realized they forgot to drop him off at daycare that morning and had left him in the car. Okay, hang on. Let's read this again because I don't understand this. When the parent went to pick up the baby from daycare after work, they realized they forgot to drop him off at daycare that morning and left him in the car. Like, how the fuck do you forget? Like, morning routine. I have my kid. I have to take my kid to daycare. How do you forget they're in the back of the... Like, this is fucking crazy. These two babies are among at least 17 children who have died in hot cars across the U.S. so far. A total of 29 children died in hot cars last year, a record high of 54 children died in hot cars in 2018. Since 1990, at least 1,100 children have died in hot cars, and about 88% of those kids were 3 years old or younger. Okay, this is fucking disgusting. Something else that I think is disgusting is if you are biologically a man... Okay, I don't care what you identify with, how you want to live your life. I'm not against you. You want to live as a woman, you got that right as an American. But what I have a right to voice is also my opinion, that if you're genetically born, you could change yourself all you want, chop your shit off, you could do whatever you want. But if you're genetically born with those chromosomes, you naturally have a stronger strength than 99% of women that are out there. Okay, you have larger muscles, you were designed differently by God, and it just seems like this Olympic Games has been a complete mockery of religion, of differences between female and male. And I think it's really backfiring on people that are on that side of the line where a man can be a woman just because they say they are. And I think sports is proving that that's not the case, that we were designed differently by God, that we have different powers and gifts that he gave us. And because some people choose not to live to what they were genetically born to doesn't mean the whole world, because they're a minority, they're a very small amount. No one's saying that we shouldn't protect them if they want to have their lifestyle. As an American, doesn't mean I agree with it, but as an American, they have that right, so I have to accept that and honor the right for everyone to pursue their happiness as long as it doesn't hurt other people. And this is hurting women, sports. It's not acceptable, period. And we all saw the highlights, and I'm going to play the video also. I think I have it somewhere here. I got to find it. But in any event, I'll read the article, and then I'll show you the video. Algerian alleged transgender boxer Imane Khalif has won her, and I love how they go her, first Paris 2024 Olympics bout after her opponent abandoned the contest after 46 seconds, having broken down in tears. Italian boxer Angela Carini entered the ring against Khalif, who had previously been banned from competing, having been deemed a biological male. Carini threw her helmet to the floor as the fight was abandoned. She then refused to share shake Khalif's hand and fell to her knees on the canvas, appearing to wipe away tears. This is reported by MSN.com. Carini was punched twice by Khalif in the opening stages of the women's welterweight fight. The blows appeared to knock the Italian chin strap, forcing the fighter to move towards her corner. She then returned to the center of the ring and abandoned the bout, with the Algerian declared the victor. I mean, this is a fucking mockery of sports. This is a travesty. This is a joke. Okay, absolute joke. This is someone that trained her whole life, and no matter how hard she trains, she will never be stronger than a man that's also training for the same sport. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Okay, tennis, different thing. Billie Jean, we all remember that legendary match. She beat a man. That's different. But this is like physical strength involved, and this is crazy. Okay, so here's a video of that on X from Sabatino, and you can see those blows hitting her right in the face. So, yeah. I mean, this almost knocked her out completely. So what do you think? Do you think that people that are born male and then transition into being female should be allowed to compete in female sports? Or do you think it's a mockery of the entire thing? It degrades sports. It degrades women. Okay, maybe they should have their own league. Like, honestly, like, maybe they should have their own division. You guys want to create these imaginary sexes. There's male and female, biologically. How you choose to live your life, that's on you. I'm not hating on you. Do what you want to do. But this is not fair. It's just not fair. So maybe we should create a third category, a transgender, if you know, we're going to abide by this, where they can compete against each other and fucking knock each other's faces out, I guess. I just don't think it's fair for a biological male born who transitioned into a woman to fight a woman and win a gold medal. It's just fucking ridiculous. I think what should be done is I think more males then should do that and enter female sports and just make a complete mockery of it. Even men that are not living their lives as women should just say, okay, I identify as a woman, go into the sports and fucking knock them all out. And then what? And then you'll have women stand up against this, maybe even the ones that stood for it, right? I guess that's what needs to be done, I guess, to show the absurdity of all this. Voice of America reports 14 arrested in human trafficking sting at comic convention in U.S. California State Attorney General said anti-human trafficking operation conducted at the popular comic convention known as Comic-Con in San Diego, California last week resulted in 14 arrests and the recovery of 10 sex trafficking victims. Okay, your children are not safe anywhere in this sick world. Your children are not safe in school. They're not safe in bathrooms. They're not safe at daycare. They're not safe in religious institutions. They are not safe. Your children are not safe. You must know where they are and who they are with all the time. You must really know who they are with. I don't care. Don't think it can't happen to you and your children. It takes 1 second to rob them of their innocence and let them have a life full of trauma, or even worse, you find out that their lives were taken. You need to know where your children are at all times and who they are with all times. It takes seconds for them to be assaulted, molested, kidnapped, and their lives taken from them, destroying your life, in essence, if you care about your children. We live in a dark world. We live in a time where nothing is sacred, where nothing is off limits to sick people that live in this world. If you have children, even a second can cost them their lives. You, as a parent, must do everything in your power to put the odds in your favor of getting them to the age where they can defend themselves. And even then, life is still dangerous for everybody. You cannot take your foot off the gas. You, fathers out there, mothers out there, but especially you fathers, I know you're busy working, so are moms, but you need to know where your children are at all times. All times. Speaking of being a mother, and my heart really aches on this story because I saw the video of what happened to Sonia Massie, and there's absolutely no excuse. Period. The Guardian reports Sonia Massie's mother called 911 and asked police not to hurt her daughter before they killed her. Donna Massie told the dispatcher, please don't send no combative policemen that are prejudiced. 2 emergency response calls were made from the home of Sonia Massie, the black woman who was shot in the face by an Illinois sheriff's deputy after she called 911 for help in the days leading up to her death. In a third call, Massie's mother, Donna, reports that her daughter is suffering a mental breakdown, key word, right? and tells the dispatcher, I don't want you guys to hurt her. She adds that she fears the police and asks that no officer who is prejudiced be sent. And the other calls a woman calling from Sonia Massie's address who doesn't identify herself, says people want to hurt her. And a day later, a woman identifying herself as Sonia Massie reports a neighbor had hit her with a brick. Sean Grayson, a white former sheriff's deputy, is charged with first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct in the shooting and death of Massie. He has pleaded not guilty and is being held without bond. Now, I just want to know, is this gaslighting when they say a black woman, white officer? Like, can you say with full conviction that he killed her? Because I don't get any of that from the video. I get from the fact this guy's a fucking asshole, an idiot, and did some really stupid shit. And I'm not trying to whitewash it, literally. Okay? Could it have been part of the reason why he did it? I can't rule that out. But what I will not stand for is gaslighting, because we've seen enough of that over the last 5 years. And unless we can prove it's hate motivated, okay, the danger of creating articles where they point out race, because they don't seem to do it when it's the other way around. And that's reverse racism. There are times where white people are killed many times by black people and they never put the race, regardless of the situation, right? So I just want to make sure we're being fair to law enforcement and the people, because there's a lot of good police people out there, and I promise you, no matter how much you hate them, when you're in trouble, you're going to call 911. I promise you. You're going to fucking call 911. I bet my life on it. When you're in fucking trouble, you're going to call them, as much as you hate them. For those of you that hate them. Are there bad officers? Are there evil people that are on the police force? There's evil in every component of our life, let alone our government. So I'm not an idiot. I understand that. I'm just saying it does not help keep us together if we can't for sure be certain that it was race motivated. Otherwise, you're creating more damage and dividing the nation. And that might be the agenda with some of the ways they write these articles, guys. That's all I'm asking you to do. Don't hate me, hate the messenger. Israel looks like they're about to finally get their war with Iran that they've been dying to do for years. Bibi's been dying. Netanyahu's been dying to go to war with Iran. Dying to make America go into war with them, against Iran. Looks like they might get their wish. Looks like Lebanon's about to get hit. I said this since October 7th. There's no way, with the amount of carnage, that Israel's going to stop. They're going to go all the way. I also predicted they'll probably annex more territory from Lebanon, maybe even Syria and Egypt one day. That's my prediction. Okay? It's not about being anti-Semitic. This is my prediction based on maps of the promised land, and you can do your research on that. Let's just see if this ages well. I could be wrong. Israel confirms it killed Hamas military commander in a July airstrike. The Israeli military says the top commanders of Hamas military wing is dead. Okay, so they took out the number one guy, supposedly of the resistance. Okay. The announcement comes following their series of recent assassination attempts of top Hamas and Hezbollah leaders in the region. Israel targeted Mohammed Daif, leader of Hamas Chazam brigades, in a July 13 airstrike. The strike was on an area Israel had declared a safe zone for civilians and killed 90 people, including women and children. Now Israel's military says the Hamas commander was killed in that strike. The military told NPR its conclusion is based on new intelligence and wouldn't elaborate. Hamas has not officially confirmed Daif's death. This is a significant milestone in the process of dismantling Hamas, a military and governing authority in Gaza. In recent days, Israel claimed responsibility for assassinating a senior Hezbollah commander in Lebanon, and a Hamas political leader, Ismail Haniyeh, was killed in Iran in a strike widely assumed to be Israel's doing. Israel is now preparing for potential retaliatory attacks. Several major airlines have canceled flights to Israel due to concerns of escalation in the region. Okay? Shit's getting real in the Middle East. Okay? Iran's leader orders attack on Israel for Haniyeh killing, officials say. So Israel is going to get hit by Iran. It might not be such a crazy strike. It might be like the last one just because they have to do something to save face. Okay, because I think if Iran really wanted to hit Israel, like really fucking hit them and go to war with them, they wouldn't announce shit. They would just try to catch their enemy off guard, just like they assassinated this leader. This thing is not going away. I promise you this war is going to spread and it's not going to stop. God knows best. I don't know the future. But if I was a betting man, since October 7th, I said this will spill over into many borders. It could even spill over into Egypt if the people of Egypt start to get inflamed. Turkey's made threats. I mean, this might set the entire Middle East on fire. Okay, it has that type of potential. And if you think I'm joking, Axios reports U.S. prepares to counter Iranian attack on Israel within days. Okay? So that means if Iran hits, then America is going to hit Iran. So your sons and daughters in America might get drafted to go fight in a place that they've never been to, probably don't give a fuck about. We've given trillions of dollars to over the last 50 years. Like, I'm not letting my son fight for any war unless America's attacked directly. Okay? And I would defend America also if I had to. But I'm tired of fighting these wars for other countries and never winning and never finishing the job, like Afghanistan. Okay? And I have friends and family that are veterans who fought in Iraq, and they've suffered, and to this day they still suffer. These are Americans who risk their lives, who still deal with PTSD. Some of them are in my own family, people that I love. And I've seen the aftermath of war, both as someone that comes from a war zone originally and someone who's had family fight for the military overseas. Okay? Make sure you're not being fucking used, American soldiers, for nonsense. Seriously. And I'm not even talking about Israel, just in general. Okay? Just in general. We achieved nothing in Afghanistan. We lost everything there. We went there for no fucking reason except, it seems like, to make certain corporations rich. U.S. prepares to counter Iranian attack on Israel within days, as reported by Axios. The Biden administration is convinced Iran is going to attack Israel in retaliation for the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran earlier this week and is preparing to counter it. Okay, they're going to counter automatically. So this thing's going to spread. And some good news here is that Wall Street Journal reporter that I reported a week or two ago that he was imprisoned. Looks like he's been freed, and I'm happy about that as someone that I consider myself somewhat of a news commentary kind of slightly journalist, because I did do some pretty cool work that broke out before the mainstream media when I covered what happened at the Trump rally in Butler where he almost lost his life. I had two people that were there. They gave firsthand accounts and footage and videos that weren't even seen by the mainstream media until days later. So I guess I am kind of a journalist, right? Russia frees Russia frees Evan Gershkovich, Paul Whelan in major prisoner swap with U.S. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan were released in a historic prisoner exchange between Russia, the U.S., and Germany. President Biden said Thursday. Okay? Let's see what else. Who did they switch for? Because last time we gave up some dangerous people. As a part of the exchange, Russia also released Aluso Kurmasheva, a dual U.S.-Russian citizen and Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty journalist, accused but not convicted of failing to register as a foreign agent. The Wall Street Journal reported that Gershkovich, Whelan, and Kushmova left a Russian aircraft around 11 a.m. at an airport in Turkey's capital, Ankara. Who did we give up, bro? Who did we give them? Does not say. Okay, Biden said the 16 prisoners released by Russia also included 5 Germans and 7 Russians. Among the Russians, 4 worked for the former Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who died in prison under mysterious circumstances earlier this year. Who did we give up? Who did we give up? I don't know. Doesn't say here in the article. We don't have anyone here. I don't know. This report's not telling us. I read some reports that they've released an assassin, like a Russian assassin. Like, we're giving him back. So, I don't know. I got to do a little more homework on that one. I guess I missed this article. U.S. tells Americans in Lebanon, be prepared to shelter in place. That means pretty much we're getting ready to bomb Lebanon, okay? My heart goes out to the people of Lebanon. I have a lot of friends from Lebanon. I've seen very beautiful videos of them on vacation there. And what people don't realize is Lebanon is not just a Muslim country. Okay, as a matter of fact, Lebanon, for those of you that can't stand Muslims that much and you don't care that they get blown up left and right, just want to let you know that Lebanon is 33% Christian, 1/3 Christian, for those of you that care only about Christian life and not because they're Muslims. Just so you know. So if you're a Christian, All life to me is sacred. If you take one innocent life, it's as if you've killed the whole world. Okay, Christian population in Lebanon is actually estimated at 35%. Okay, that means when them bombs are falling, it's also Christians dying, not just Muslims. And this is why I keep doing my videos and trying to bring peace to all three faiths. Okay, because what's going on in the world is unacceptable, and we have to be people that try to bring peace to the world, but we don't care because we're selfish. We only worry about it when it happens to us. I know because I lost my family in a war and no one gave a fuck. No one cared. So we're very selfish as a species. We only worry about our house when it's on fire. We don't try to help our neighbor put their house out when their forest fire is burning. That's why no one comes to save us. It's kind of that analogy. Do and good comes back. Too many of us are silent and we don't say nothing and we don't demand better for this world. And I am really sad to hear about what's probably going to happen to Lebanon. And I said this since October 7th. Going back to the Olympics, Simone, I butcher names, some guys, because I don't listen to the mainstream media. I'd rather just read and form my own opinion because I can't stand listening to bullshit all day. Simone Biles, tell me if or Biles, leave a comment. Like, how do I, Biles, Biles, I don't know. Leave a comment. Amazing athlete. She wins Olympic all-around title, bronze for Suni Lee. Simone Biles remains peerless even when she's not quite perfect. The American gymnastics star held off Brazil's Rebecca Andrade during a tense Olympic all-around final Thursday. Biles, total of 59.13, was just over a point ahead of Andrade at 57.932, one of the closest calls Biles has ever endured at a major international event. Sunisa Lee, the Tokyo Olympics champion, earned bronze despite spending much of the past 15 months dealing with multiple kidney diseases that left her return to the games in doubt. That's amazing to have kidney disease and come back from that. Hands off to Sunisa Lee. The margin was the smallest in a major international event since Biles captured the third of her record 6 world championships in 2015. So respect to Simone. If you're worried about the election, it's heating up and tech people are going to war with each other. Elon Musk is like as far right as it gets now, but he's got some competition coming into the billionaire arena. More than 200 venture capitalists pledged support to Kamala Harris, a group of more than 200 venture capital investors, founders, and tech leaders pledged to vote for VP Kamala Harris in the 2024 election on Wednesday. The big picture: the largely Democratic-leaning Silicon Valley investors organized under the name VCs For Kamala represent billions of dollars in assets and appear to be standing up as a counter to the chunk of tech billionaires lining up behind Republican nominee former President Trump. The group includes billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban, LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman, Khosla Ventures founder Vinod Khosla, and Silicon Valley angel investor Ron Conway. So, for those of you on the right, these are people that you would probably not want to support anymore or use their websites like LinkedIn. For those of you on the left, these are people you would want to support. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Hint, hint. British Prime Minister to meet with the police chiefs after more violence linked to dance class stabbing rampage. Okay, there were angry scenes in London as thousands of anti-immigration protesters gathered near Keir Starmer's Downing Street office. This is NBC News. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will meet senior police leaders on Thursday. His office sit after a second night of clashes between protesters and police prompted by the deaths of 3 young girls in a frenzied knife attack at a dance class. There were angry scenes in London on Wednesday evening as thousands of anti-immigration protesters gathered near Starmer's Downing Street office and residents chanting, "Save our kids and we want our country back." Coming to America soon. Just pay attention to the UK because it's coming to America soon. The previous night, more than 50 police officers were injured in the violent clashes in the English seaside town of Southport, where Monday's stabbing took place. A 17-year-old male was in police custody on suspicion of murder and attempted murder after the bloody rampage at a Taylor Swift yoga and dance workshop, a summer vacation event for children aged 6 to 11. While the right to peaceful protest must be protected at all costs, he will be clear that criminals who exploit that right in order to sow hatred and carry out violent acts will face the full force of the law I want to pay attention to one part of this that's very important, because people like to blame things on people and call everyone a terrorist or a Muslim or this or that. People initially thought it was terrorism, and it was not. Okay, and all these clashes broke out because there's a large Muslim population in the UK, and that's why giving information that's accurate is very important. I also do want to say I made a mistake on my last episode. I read the article very quickly. A lot of time, guys and girls, I'm reading these articles right in front of you. I don't have a teleprompter. I don't have a script, and I misread that article because I felt it was poorly written. So I thought in the last episode of Interesting Times that Jennifer Aniston was actually attacked in New York. No, she was filming a movie where she's attacked, so it was all staged. And I didn't fully comprehend what I was reading. So I want to apologize to all of you, my audience, for making that error. I'm not perfect, but I'm still entertaining. So stay tuned, and I'll still bring you the best news, and always double check things if something's, important. The disorder took place after false information. We're going back to these riots that are breaking out in the UK. The disorder took place after false information was spread. False information was spread on social media that the suspect was a radical Islamist migrant. Police are legally restricted in the details they can provide about the alleged teenage attacker, but they have said that the incident was not terrorism related and that he was born in Britain, quashing speculation on his origins. I say anytime there is a mass killing or shooting, blood needs to be taken from these people. We need to be given all public details of what's in their blood. There must be a common denominator. I think psychotropic drugs are to blame for a lot of this. I truly do. There is a mental illness, and these mentally ill people can, they can say they do it in the name of a religion, or they can do it in the name of a political move, okay? But I think there's more going on, guys and girls, and I think we need to start demanding this type of information. This story, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. 23 years later, White House claims Biden played no role in 9/11 mastermind's plea deal. We've seen this guy's picture, okay? Yet as someone that was in the World Trade Center, I never got to see Osama bin Laden's body. I think every American had a right to see that. We aired Saddam getting hung and all this shit, and Gaddafi getting killed, but a guy that takes down two of the most iconic buildings, if not the most iconic buildings in the world at the time, and takes out the lives of thousands of Americans, we didn't have the right to see his body or none of that stuff, okay? And this guy, they've been using the same picture of him with his hairy-ass fucking carpet chest with this disgusting, it looks like I've never seen a T-shirt where you have like that much of a circle. Okay, it looks like they put Andre the Giant's T-shirt on this guy. This picture has been the only picture we've seen of this guy. Like, is he even real? Is this guy even real? Seriously. Like, I'm dead fucking serious. Like, is this guy even real? And what, 23 years later, it took this long to convict this guy? Like, the White House learned yesterday that the Convenient Authority for Military Commissions entered into pretrial agreements negotiated by military prosecutors with the KSM and other 9/11 defendants. At a White House National Security Council spokesperson told Fox News Digital, the president and the White House played no role in the process. The president has directed his team to consult as appropriate with the officials and lawyers at the Department of Defense on this matter. Okay? This guy, all right, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, in a photo released by the FBI October 10, 2001. The prosecution and families have to wait 23 years to have our day in court to put on the record what these animals did to our loved ones. They took the opportunity away from us. Let's read some of the comments here. The White House did not play a role, however, could have stopped it, but they did not. This is Mike Navax on Fox's news website. That's the problem. The leader needs to lead. White House claims Biden played no role. Pretty well sums up the last 4 long years. These comments are pretty funny, man. I, honest to God, my true gut opinion, we don't know the truth of what really happened that day. I really, truly believe that. I believe there's a lot more to this story, and I don't know, man. It just doesn't add up. A lot of it doesn't add up. But these people seem like boogeymen to me. Like, how come we can't watch their trial? They attacked America, right? I want to see this fucking animal has to say. I want to see how the trial's handled. I want to see the book thrown. I want to see his face when they're telling him he's going to be thrown into prison for the rest of his life or executed. And Like, we don't have one new picture of this guy in 23 years. It's a little fucking fishy, man. Tell me if I'm wrong. Drop a comment. Security forces fire tear gas as anti-government protests break out across Nigeria. This is apnnews.com. Abuja, Nigeria. Thousands of mostly young people poured onto the streets across Nigeria on Thursday to protest against the country's worst cost of living crisis in a generation. In the capital of Abuja, where a court granted an order late Wednesday to restrict the protest to a stadium, police repeatedly fired salvos of tear gas at the protesters gathered in the district. This seems to be spreading across Africa. The cost of living is just ridiculous. Kenya had violence. People died because they were about to impose more taxes. It seems like the third world is really struggling. So my heart and prayers go out to the Nigerians. Elon Musk has just been battling like everybody lately. Like every politician that just wants to fuck with him. Like Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris. Now he's fighting against hopefully soon to be overthrown dictator and scumbag Nicolas Maduro. If I win, he resigns. If he wins, Elon Musk, there's Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. The animosity between Elon Musk and Nicolas Maduro has been brewing for some time amidst the political turmoil in Caracas. Maduro, whose victory in the recent elections has been widely contested. Billionaire Elon Musk has accepted a challenge to fight Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on national television. The SpaceX and Tesla chief and the owner of the social network X took to his platform to respond to Maduro's challenge. I accept, he tweeted, sparking a fury of reactions online. The animosity between Musk and Maduro has been brewing for some time amidst political turmoil in Caracas. Maduro, whose victory in the recent elections has been widely contested, has found a foe in Musk, a staunch ultra-capitalist and supporter of Donald Trump. This ideological clash pits billionaire Musk against Maduro, a socialist leader who rose from humble beginnings as a bus driver to preside over the oil-rich yet economically struggling nation. This nation used to be amazing. Ask anyone that lived there before they turned to socialism. Americans, wake up. Speaking of space, makes you think of, right, Elon Musk. The defector.com, do not say the Boeing Starliner astronauts are stranded in space. No, they're fucking stranded in space. What's crazy is that just, again, another thing that makes Boeing look horrible, which they cannot presently return from due to problems with their spacecraft. If I can't return somewhere, I am stranded, okay? Back on June 5th, NASA astronauts Barry Wilmore and Suni Williams traveled from Cape Canaveral, Florida to the International Space System aboard the Boeing, keyword, Starliner capsule. This was the first crewed mission for the Starliner. It was meant to last 8 days. Today's date is August 1st, and Wilmore and Williams are still on board the International Space Station. Well, you see, the thing is, well, they're not stranded. That's the important thing. NASA astronauts Barry Wilmore and Suni Williams are not stranded in space. No, they just can't come home. So I guess they're not stranded. Like, are you joking? Do not say or write that they are stranded in space, because they are not stranded there. Well, they've been trying to get home. It's fucking August. They've been trying since June 5th. I'm fucking stranded. I tell people when I can't get somewhere, I'm like, hey, I'm stranded here. It could be 5 minutes. Like, no, they're stranded. The Starliner's, Boeing's first commercially developed spacecraft, had a famously rocky development period. It ran more than $1 billion over budget. I would have never gone on that if I was an astronaut. I'd be like, $1 billion over budget, something wrong. They simply are up there in space with a spacecraft that needs fixing and must stay there until it's fixed, and we don't know when that will be. Okay, so they're stranded. Next article. This one's pissing me off. Mpox outbreak. Things to watch for, okay? Monkeypox. Outbreaks declared in Kenya and Central African Republic. The race is on to contain the spread. Kenya and the Central African Republic have declared new outbreaks of Mpox. Okay, Nairobi announced the outbreak on Wednesday after a case was detected in a passenger traveling from Uganda to Rwanda at a border crossing in southern Kenya. The Central African Republic was the first to declare a new outbreak on Monday, saying it extends to the capital. Now, Kenya's had a lot of unrest, okay? And it's just convenient. Maybe they're going to have an outbreak and, like, shut things down. It's the same thing that happened in Hong Kong right before the sea illness that shut down the world in 2019. You know, C-19 shut everything down. They were having political unrest also. Is this a new pattern? I don't know. Ask yourselves. Or better yet, pay attention going forward. You can look at the past to try to predict the future, my friends. LiveScience.com. Scientist uncovers microbes that destroy forever chemical pollutants. This sounds like good news. Little is known about the fate of PFAS in our environment, but new research finds that bacteria in wastewater can degrade specific types of forever chemicals. Certain bacteria can degrade the strong bonds that give forever chemicals their long shelf life, and this hints at potential low-cost treatments that could cleanse water of these contaminants. That's good news. Now, in a study published July 17th, the journal Science Advances, researchers reported for the first time that 4 species of Acetobacterium can degrade the bonds in some PFAs. This includes unsaturated PFAs, whose chemical structure makes them easier to break down than so-called saturated PFAs. Hopefully they find something to take out all this plastic in the environment. This microplastic's ending up in our balls, guys. In our balls, literally. Yes, your testicles, yes. Yes. This right here, this little thing I'm going to show you right now can show you if you have cancer or not. I thought it was pretty important. There's a little test called the diamond finger test, and it can show you, a decent amount of people. It helps them pre-diagnose certain types of cancer, lung cancer to be exact. Doing a simple 5-second diamond finger test can help detect lung cancer early. Lung cancer is one of the most prevalent and severe forms of cancer in the UK, with over 430,000 individuals diagnosed annually. The 5-second diamond test is one method that can aid in early detection of lung cancer. Also known as the Shamroth window test or window gap test, it can be performed at home. Simply press your thumbnails or index fingers together and look for a small diamond window between them. If you don't see it, you might have a condition called finger clubbing, experienced by over 35% of individuals with non-small cell lung cancer. Okay? This little test, 35% accuracy to show you if you have lung cancer or not. And just because you don't smoke doesn't mean you can't get lung cancer. Plenty of people die from lung cancer without smoking. Let's take a look at what this test looks like, okay? You can do this test and see if you have lung cancer. Pay attention, okay? Here we go. Let's do it.
Shamroth sign. When fingernails of the corresponding fingers of each hand are placed against each other, normally there is diamond-shaped gap between them.
See the gap here?
That is called Shamroth sign. It is lost in finger clubbing.
You need to have that diamond shape.
Finger clubbing can be caused by
if you don't have the diamond shape, then you have what is known as clubbing fingers, which means you might have a 35% chance of having lung cancer. You can do this test anywhere, at any time, in a place. Good luck. Elon Musk, when we assess his Twitter/X account, he's literally all political, attacking everyone, and he's just he's on the offensive, man. He's just going to war with everyone, including Maduro. He writes, "I'm coming for you, Maduro. I will carry you to Gitmo on a donkey." Elon Musk, man. The new Tony Starks. I found this article interesting. Former Green Beret was arrested for a 2020 failed Venezuelan raid. So this is an American military retired. Green Beret is no joke. Green Beret is like Rambo. If you watch the movie Rambo, I'm not saying that's exactly how they are. Like, they can take down helicopters with an arrow, but this guy went there and tried to overthrow Maduro. So sad that they're throwing the book on him, but I guess you can't do these types of things. So to me, I mean, that's a guy with a straight warrior, believed in overthrowing this dictator, willing to go over there and do it. And he's American. He's in prison right now in Brooklyn, but they're throwing the book at him. So, and the sad part is he's actually, his name is Gordreo. He's 48 years old. He was charged with conspiracy, smuggling goods from the U.S., and unlawful possession of a machine gun among 14 counts. He's a 3-time Bronze Star recipient for braving Iraq and Afghanistan. He catapulted to fame in 2020 when he claimed responsibility for an amphibious raid by a ragtag group of soldiers that had trained in clandestine camps in neighboring Colombia. He said he and others were acting to protect Venezuela's democracy after Maduro's 2018 re-election was boycotted. I mean, this is definitely like a movie. Sick movie, actually. They make it. I don't know how I feel about that, man. I feel bad, man. This guy was brave. He fought for America. Like, he was trying to get rid of a dictator. I kind of like him. Someone else that I've liked, but I hope that doesn't turn into someone I don't like. Mr. Beast is the #1 guy on YouTube, period. Go check out his channel, then compare it to me, and I'm fucking nothing compared to this guy, okay? I've loved watching his videos where he helps people, but there's a lot of dirt coming out on this guy. And I don't know if it's all true, but in any event, he's having a scandal with one of his co-hosts, Ava Chris, who was a boy that when I first started watching Mr. Beast videos transitioned into being a lady, and now he's accused of doing inappropriate things with minors. And Mr. Beast has already, thrown him out of his company. So, it's a lot of weird shit happening. Okay, guys? So, in any event, he's also accused of using inappropriate language in the past and maybe even making racist comments. You guys can check that all out. In any event, this was the most interesting stuff I could dig up. No reason to watch any of the other news today. I'm always here to give you the most interesting stories that I can find. I sift through everything and I bring it to you so you don't have to waste your time watching nonsense on the internet when you can watch me, your boy, your friend, Bek Lover. Make sure you stay tuned. Never give up, never surrender, and check out The Comeback Team. My new podcast is coming soon. I'm bringing that back. It has its own channel and everything, but you can check out all the links on beklover.com, and I'll see you the next time there's something interesting to talk about. Till the next time.